The world is a global village.
And that's because information travels beyond boundaries.
And on This Morning on ITV,
we guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. This morning on ITV TMI. Join us.
All right, thank you so much. The program still much alive here on independent television. And I did tell you that we're going to be looking at issues surrounding migration and irregular migration, where some call it illegal migration, unlawful migration, but most recently, migration experts have said that the proper terminology to use for it is irregular migration. And one thing that is so associated or so related to irregular migration is, when we have victims of this phenomenon being returned back home, it becomes a very big problem for the government of the day, and of course a big problem for the victims. We're talking about rehabilitating them, and there has also been a kind of an argument most recently that as you are rehabilitating victims of irregular migration, you also need to, see the need of reintegrating them back to the society. Well, we're going to be talking along this line today, and I told you that most recently, a recent record, recently carried out shows that Nigeria ranks among one of the highest countries that has a series of, victims of irregular migration. It's very, very disturbing. Well, to look at all this today, we are so privileged to have we have two people here. One is here, we have Joseph Bali. He's the Deputy Coordinator, Initiative for Youth Awareness on Migration, Immigration, Development, and Reintegration. And also, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, please just face the stay on the camera. Now, we're expecting Mrs. Ijoma Odwak, who is the Zonal Commander of NAPTIP. NAPTIP is the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. So when she comes, she's going to join us so that we can do some great talk about the topic of today. Now, Mr. Bale, you're welcome one more time. Now, when we talk about human trafficking, exactly what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's simple. When we talk about human trafficking, it's when an individual is being transported or taken from one country or from one place to another, you understand, with a promise, most especially for better living, better amenities and all that. But probably, unfortunately, when the person gets there, that's not the case. Those are some of the challenges these people face when they have been taken away from the shores of Nigeria and they have been transported outside the country.
Okay. Now, from your own experience, which set of people normally fall within this, issue?
Ordinarily, people that are prone to such what we're talking about now,
human trafficking. Yeah.
They are basically young people, most especially youthful age, will be between 18, some 15 to maybe 40. Most young people who are eager, you understand, they have strength, they have the zeal to make a living, they just want to explore life, they want to create a better enabling environment for themselves, most especially their family and their loved ones. So they are eager to make it, you understand, eager to succeed in life. So in that process, probably maybe they may go into the wrong hands, and just because of better promises elsewhere, because of the kind of system we find ourselves in this country, people want to explore outside this country, and that's where we are now.
Okay. Now, from your point of view, do you think that it is necessarily the fact that these places that they go to, that it's somehow more promising than Nigeria, that makes them to actually want to go there?
To a large extent, I think it is more promising.
How do you mean?
I think so, because ordinarily, if you look at the Nigeria context today, it is very, very alarming and disheartening.
No, you can't say so.
I
mean, you are here and here, so if it's very alarming and disheartening, you won't be here.
No, it's disheartening. Why I say it's disheartening is because, you understand, you see graduates every day, we are bringing out graduates, and today you say, let's learn a trade, you see people learning trades and all that. What is the support of government towards that? Graduates are coming out every day. Is there a job anywhere? No. Getting a job in Nigeria, it's almost impossible. You see, graduates are coming out every day. You are passing out graduates, you are bringing out graduates, you are bringing out graduates. Where are the jobs? The jobs are not there. You understand? Even the enabling environment. Okay, let's say let us go on what do we call it? Let us go into investing, maybe like being an entrepreneur. What are the indices that will favor you? What about capital? What about finance? Talk about capital, look at the environment. Do we have all the amenities, light and all that? When you want to go into production. Even like a young girl now who just managed, struggle to get an handwork maybe for hairdressing. How does she get light to power her dryers? It becomes a problem. She has to go and look for a way to look for a generator. If she doesn't have money, that is no suffer. Even a young boy that is able to learn a trade, maybe an handwork in Babylon, how do you do that? That's how production is going down every day because of power. So that's why you see people who are not even able to do well here. When they go outside, they are able to do well.
Yeah, but when you see people are not able to do well here, we have people that are doing well here. I mean, entrepreneurs, small, medium-scale businessmen, they are doing well.
What are the indices? What are the indices? You look at what are the indices? How many percent?
You mean the factors that make them to do well?
Yes. Even those who are successful in business, what are the indices? What are their percentage now?
Okay, but for those that are succeeding, that are surviving, despite what you're saying now, what do you think they are doing that others are probably not doing?
Yeah, for me, the chances in Nigeria are very slim, and that's why we are trying to engage government every day to expand.
You cannot say the chances in Nigeria, but people take advantage of chances.
Nobody is disputing the fact. When we talk about being slim, is that the factors. You understand? The factors. When we look at, I made mention about light. I made mention about government policies. When you see overtaxing, you look at tax as an issue. You understand? When you want to run a business of like 100 or 200, maybe 10, 5. If I'm talking about 10 million, even at the high side, maybe a million error, and your taxes that you are paying is even not proportionate. The taxes are sometimes very, very ambiguous. Okay,
now let's quickly take a short pause as we continue on the program this morning on ITV and talking about ways that we can rehabilitate victims of irregular migration. We are just building up the discussion, and of course I told you that we're expecting the zonal commander of NAPTIP in Edo State here, Mrs. Ijoma Odwak. She's going to join us so that we can talk more. Please stay tuned.
Independent television is live 24 hours on Go TV, channel 107, Star Times, channel 130. You can watch from any part of the world on Roku TV, Smart TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV for your favorite programs, news, current affairs, and lots more. You don't want to miss our objective and balanced reportage, entertainment, and sports. Now follow us via our social media channels on Twitter at ITV Radio NG. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ITV Radio NG. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. Visit our website for more news stories and lots more. ITVRadioNigeria.com. Watch ITV via live streaming on the internet. ITVRadioNigeria.com/live and click on the TV stream option. Also remember to visit your mobile app store and download the ITV app so you can watch on the go. For advert placement and commercials, call the following numbers: 0805 563 8573, 0803 775-5024, 0708 365 2800, and 0708 365 2474. Independent television, certainly the best.
All right, thank you so much. The program is still much alive here on Independent Television, and looking at the issue of the day, talking about how we can rehabilitate victims of irregular migration and trafficking in persons, and also, you know, lots more about the issue there. Well, I told you that we're expecting the zonal commander of NAPTIP, Mrs. Ijoma Odwak. Of course, NAPTIP is the acronym for National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, and she's right here with us. Madam, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I know you have to go through the hectic traffic at 5 Junction.
It's a normal thing.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Now, before you came, we're trying to establish a basis for this discussion, and of course, he was trying to explain when we say human trafficking. So from your own point of view, and perhaps from your experience working with NAPTIP, what do you think constitutes human trafficking?
Before I answer the question, I would like to tell you a little bit of the agency. No. Because the agency...
No, let's talk about the issue first, before we'll talk about your agency. Yeah.
Okay. I know the agency was established to curb the menace of human trafficking. And what is this human trafficking? It is the recruitment, the transportation, the purchase, the sale of human beings by means of deception, coercion, debt bondage for the purpose of exploitation.
Okay.
So you find out that the purpose, the end purpose of human trafficking is exploitation. And there must always be deception. You know, that is the motto of every trafficker, deception before departure. They will lure their victims with water, juicy promises. But by the time the victim gets there, what they promised him or her when going will not be what she will see at the destination, even at the transit route. So that is why the agency is there established to curb the menace of this human trafficking.
Okay. Now, I have gone through the Act, the 2003 Administration Act that gave rise to the establishment of NAPTIP. Now, from that point of view, what do you think is the scope of human trafficking? Of when we say people are trafficked, to what scope is it?
You know, that act that established the agency was reenacted in 2005 and repealed in 2015. You know, this latest one had a stiffer penalty for the offenders, and more acts have been enacted into the law, or more sections have been co-opted into the latest acts. You know, though I'm not a lawyer, I cannot sit down here to start quoting the section, but you find out that the present act now gives the offenders stiffer penalty, and more let me say, sections are being inculcated to the present act. Okay. So we are not looking at the past 2003 act, but the latest one.
Okay, we are looking at the latest one now. So that latest one that we are looking at now, so what extent does the scope is? Because for some people, when you say people are trafficked, their mind just goes straight to a little girl that is taken to Europe and all that. Is that where it ends? No.
It does not end there. We have internal and external trafficking.
Okay.
The internal trafficking may be from this city to the other city, from rural area to the urban area. You know, when they tell you that a supermarket is going on in Lagos, since you are in the village here, let me take you to Lagos City, where you will work in a supermarket and make more money.
I thought you were going to say that people that are kidnapped are also trafficked.
You know, kidnapping, we talk of abduction. Do you understand? That kidnapping is not in our mandate. Say we have other agencies that prosecute kidnapping. But when you say abduction, you know, where you take a child from his or her comfort zone, and the child will experience sort of abuse molest, that is where we come in, abduction.
That's trafficking too.
Yes, that is part of trafficking.
Yeah.
It is part of trafficking. And then again, the sale of babies, you know, this is a baby factory.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying, the reason why I've had cause to read your Administration Act 2003, and I got to know that people that are kidnapped are also trafficked. Now, the attention seems to be more on a little girl, taking a little girl to Europe. People really don't also see it from my own point of view now, from the point of view that we're trying to establish here, that for somebody who is kidnapped is also a victim of human trafficking too.
You know, when it comes to that act, we look at age. Age really, really matters to us. Do you understand? So, most times when you adopt somebody or maybe kidnap somebody, we look at the age bracket, you know. If you bring a case of kidnapping, we may say, okay, go to DSS, go to police. But when a child is involved, you know, a child cannot take a decision. The consent of a child does not matter. You know, this is where the child is and you abducted. That is when the agency now has its full-fledged law, you know. But when you say missing person, kidnapping, you know, that kind of, we may refer you to the appropriate agency.
Okay, Mr. Agbale, before Madam came, we're trying to look at people that are more susceptible to human trafficking. Yeah. And you were trying to, please, can you speak more on that?
Okay, right. I was trying to bring the foundation on basically some of the reasons that have caused people to, why are they susceptible, is because we talk about deceit just now, when you have been promised a greener pasture somewhere. It's because you are not, maybe because some people are not satisfied or comfortable with where they are. They want to exploit. Okay. Most especially, like now, if you look at the British. But most of these things are prone to, most especially sub-Saharan Africa, African countries and all that. They are more. Or maybe if you want to have in the Middle East, maybe because of war-like situation. You understand? But in the context of Nigeria as a nation, there are so many factors that have brought about such things. And that was why I was trying to make a balance between government policies and some of our youth. Okay. Yeah, not that, like I was trying, you were trying to make a comparison that there are so many people who are also making.
Oh, you were making a categorical statement.
Yes,
so I needed
I really needed to give some of the insights. Yeah, that
your own insights, not because your own insight may not be my own insight. So anyway, let me come to Madam one more time. Now, when we talk about rehabilitating victims of irregular migration, there is a kind of another word that seems to go pari passu with rehabilitation, reintegration. Now, for some people, it's better to reintegrate these victims first before you rehabilitate them. Why some say no, that you have to rehabilitate them first before you reintegrate them. So what do we do? How do we go about all this?
We have to, when we rescue a victim, first you identify that truly this person is a victim. Okay. The person will go through the process of what we say sheltering, the way we do it.
Okay, we'll go through what?
Sheltering.
What's that?
We shelter the person, you know. Then after sheltering the person, or during the, because of sheltering, the medical needs are also met by the agency. Then the medical needs, after which you you ask questions. So after that, we start the process of rehabilitation. Rehabilitation comes first before reintegration.
Now, do you do this based on what you can offer or based on what the person needs?
No, based on what the person needs and what we can offer. Because a victim can tell me that I want to learn hairdressing. Do you understand? We walk towards that direction. So we rehabilitate them first, because if you don't rehabilitate and reintegrate, I mean, they may be re-trafficked. Okay. Because in the process of rehabilitation, you empower them, you reintegrate them back to the society as functional members. And before you make them so functional members, you have to equip them through the process of rehabilitation.
Okay.
So that's why we ask them questions. What some of them are in school. Some of them say, I want to further my education. So we train them in that aspect. Some of them say, I want to learn hair making, I want to learn dressmaking. We follow suit.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Agbali, now we are looking at a society whereby to reintegrate somebody back to a lifestyle, you know, a given norm in a society is really not easy, particularly when the person has left for some time and the person was initiated into another lifestyle. Now, the big question is are you the one that reintegrates, or the person reintegrates himself back to the society?
Yeah, I think for me, the person has to reintegrate himself back to the society. Because one,
is it the reason why we're asking all this? Because we are trying to look at the challenges, you know, that are involved in human trafficking, trying to rehabilitate these people back. Just go ahead.
The truth is that when you rehabilitate, the process of rehabilitating these persons is just to change the narrative, what eventually caused why they went, you understand, knowing their story, see how you can talk to them, giving them hope that there's better life here and how they should go about things and how you think they can get reintegrated. How do you think you can get reintegrated is equipping them. How do you equip them? You mean somebody who have lost faith in this country decided to travel out. It's bringing them back to the society. How do you bring it back to society? My friend, what do you think is your passion? You must ask. So that you don't give a man who needs boat, you give him car. You understand? So in the process of rehabilitation, the government are able to know what are these needs, what is this person's passion. And when you are able to know the person's passion, you know how you can enhance it and fix him back to the society. Okay. And naturally, once you are able to impart in that direction, the person naturally goes into the society and understands that now it's now time for me to move because you are trying to make the person a better person.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, madam, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to support what he is saying. You know, that is why we go through the process of counseling.
Okay, counseling.
Yeah, counseling, yes.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to tell you the mandate of the agency because we have the mandate is being encapsulated in what we call 4 P's or 5 P's, 5 precisely. We have protection, we have policy, we have prevention, we have partnership, we have the partnership and prevention, policy, prosecution. Okay. Prosecution is the 5th one. So when it comes to
but you don't prosecute somebody that you are rehabilitating.
No. I'm talking generally on the mandate of the agency.
Okay.
So it comes under, what we are talking about is under protection. So prosecution is meant for the traffickers.
Okay.
Prevention is like this, we are creating awareness. Partnership is where we are partnering with the media and the NGOs, you know. Then policy are those things we put in place to curb these menace.
Now,
so
for somebody that is not opportune to work with NAPTIP and who does not probably have the professional training that you have as a NAPTIP, staff officials, so to say. Now, we have so many mothers out there that they have their children, they return them back from the Europe and all that, and these same mothers are made to rehabilitate or reintegrate these children back into themselves, into the family life one more time. How can they go about it? Because these people are not trained, they are not professionals, and yet these victims, they have the same problem. So how can they go about it?
You know, if they bring them to our office...
No, not bringing them to you now. Some people may not want to bring them to NAPTIP because they may not want their children to be exposed and all that. They would rather keep the children themselves.
We always protect the identity of these children to avoid stigmatization. Seriously. Because some people will come, oh, look at what my daughter, she just came. It's okay. Bring your daughter, let us talk to your daughter. We have professional counselors. It's in the religious aspect of it to tell you that no matter the wasted years, you can still make up. You understand? So we take counseling step by step so that it will sink into them. And during the process of rehabilitation, after the equipment is being given to that victim, we follow it up. Are you hearing me? We follow it up
Or
to
the
make sure
victim should be followed up.
Yes, we
I
follow-
want you to talk
we-
more on
yeah.
what other people can do, not necessarily what NAPTIP is doing.
You know, when we are parent these victims, their parents will be there. Their parents or any family member must be there. You know, we follow it up before final disengagement. We know that you are established. We know that the machines that are bought for you are being used for the purpose. You know, some people you may buy for them because you're not full. They may sell it off. Say, after all, we never eat, we never do this. So waiting we go carry machine too. You know, we try as much as possible to pay at least 1 year rent for that shop. Assuming you are a seamstress, assuming you are a cobbler, assuming you are a hairdresser. You know, then when we now follow you up, then later we do what we call final disengagement, because we know that you have stabilized. So for some parents that are finding it difficult, I still advise they come to us.
Okay, I don't want to, don't do too much advert for NAPTIP, because what we are doing here, we're trying to really let other viewers out there know what they can be, what can be done. That's why, because I know you have the experience in all this. Now, let me come to Agbale now. From your own experience, you're a resource person in this field. Now, what do you think is the greatest challenge that rehabilitation and reintegration faces as it relates to victims of irregular migration?
Finance.
Finance?
Yes. Because all these things we are mentioning requires money. For you to rehabilitate, for you to reintegrate back into the society, you need finance. And that's why we need more partnership. People must also support government. Government cannot do it all. So private individuals and all that must support this process. Must continue to build awareness, because most times in third world countries or developing countries, what we do is more of curative rather than preventive. So we must look more on how do we nip it, so that it doesn't get to that point before we start bringing finance to rehabilitate and all that. So, but we must create more awareness. We must take it down to the grassroots to make sure that, because even as we are rehabilitating, they are still recruiting. So we must bring this as a form of awareness. We must take it directly down to the grassroots, so that we can also checkmate this from the grassroots, because it's most especially it's from the rural areas, that whether internal or external migration, they start from the rural areas. When you promise, if you, just like Madam was saying just now, when you take a man from the village, with a promise that you have a better job in Lagos, it has started. You understand? So we must now do more of public awareness in the grassroots, not in the surface. We're always in the surface, maybe in the city centers and all that.
Okay. Madam, let me come to you. In 2016, there was a global index report that put the number to a total of almost about 900,000 Nigerians that are victims of irregular migration. Now, 2016 to 2019, that's about 3 years. It has also shown that the number has increased. Why is it that, despite agencies like yours, we don't find the number coming down, but rather it keeps on increasing? Is it that government is not doing enough, or agencies like NAPTIPs and other agencies are not doing enough?
I want to let you know something, that the last question you asked him, he talked of finance. Yes, finance is there, but again, the mindset of the victims. You know, at times, you like to help them, you tell them that, look, don't go back to that place. You're going back to Egypt. How can you come back from here? You want to go back to... They will tell you no. They will tell you no, that they want to go back. They want to go back, that they are suffering here. By the time
that may be as a result of maybe the rehabilitation or the reintegration is not good enough for them.
I am telling you, because that's why we work on their mindset. Once you catch their mindset, if you don't work on their mindset, even if you bring billions here, they'll be looking at that, thinking of that Europe they want to go back to. So you find out that is a problem that we first of all work on the victims. Because I know the agencies and other stakeholders, we are carrying out massive public awareness on the ills of this irregular migration and the trafficking. But I know, but you know, you can bear with me that the third world country, we have pull and push factors that make them to still want to go back, you know. But I know with the help of the NGOs, the organization like us, the government, and the enlightenment, it must definitely come down or come to a standstill. Yes, I know.
So you're saying that that pull and
push factor is
one of the reasons.
Really, yes, that is making them to like go on as if we're not doing enough. You know, when it comes to maybe the demand for sexual workers abroad, they have industries where they want to recruit the third world countries to work in the sex industry. Their economic is stabilized there, you know. There are this and that, you know. Oh, there is poverty in the land. You know, I'm calling all the pull and push factors, you know, and you know, no moral values again, you know, safety nets collapsing. They want to go back. So this is what we hammer on. This is what we hammer on. Because if we don't do it, there will be brain drain in the country.
Now, we are told that at times victims are taken to shrines.
Yes,
you know, they are made to take oaths and all that.
Yes.
Now, for somebody that has not gone through the formal training on how to rehabilitate, you know, such victims, how would such a person go about it? Because you are going to be dealing with somebody that has been shown some kind of celestial, you know, phenomena and all that, and the person becomes scared.
Yes, we have such encounters, in our office. We tell them that all those things are fake. They are fake. They do it to intimidate you. They do it so that whenever they cough, you follow them. You know where they will go and then cut their pubic hair. They do the private part. They put in the shrine. They cut the blood of animal. I say all those things are fake. You know. We give them examples. At times we arrest the native doctors. They will confess that it is fake, that they do it so that they will instill fear on their victims. So by the time we talk to the victims, they will now like, okay, there was one that the native doctor was there. He was not confessing that, look, it is all fake, that the trafficker gave him some money, that was why he now told the victim that if you confess, if you say anything you see there, you are going to die. My sister, it is all fake. Yeah,
but at times we also hear stories that when these victims default and maybe they decide to experience some kind of freedom over there, mysterious things happens to them.
There's no mysterious. It's just that most times the traffickers are after them. The traffickers are physically after them. Abroad, even here. I've never seen any of them that they run mad on. They don't do anything, just that the traffickers are after their lives and nothing else. Because we don't believe in that juju and the voodoo priest. They confess now that they're all fake.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as we wrap up this discussion today, now, what would you say, how do you want the government to come into this process of rehabilitation? Because some say that there seems not to be a blueprint, you know, on all these issues, except agencies here and there that we have. Mr. Agbale.
You see, like she was trying to say just now, you talk about the pull factors and the push factors. You understand? Before we can have an headway, we must look at what is the causative factor that have made our youth to leave looking for greener pastures. Like I made a reference. How many Americans do you see migrate outside America? How many? Look, what is the statistics? You said something about in 2016, and today these figures is increasing.
Yeah.
Why is it increasing? You must look at all these indices so that we keep begging the question in Nigeria. We keep petting issues. And for me, the government, they are also trying to do something, but maybe their best is not good enough. Like I said, their best is certainly not good enough. We must.
No, that's your own opinion.
Yeah. Yes. If that is my opinion, but it's reflective of the statistics you just mentioned.
Yeah. When you say
if in 2016 maybe you are able to rescue 100 people, and in 2018 you are getting, in 2019 you are getting 300 people that have migrated again. That shows that you are not doing enough here. So what do we think we need to do as a government, NGO, because it's a collaborative effort? Government cannot also do it all. private individuals, just like your outfit, the media outfit. All these are things all hands must be on deck to look at a possible solution. What are the possible solutions? We must now invest in critical infrastructures like roads, like lights and all that. Because power is a very key agent to bring about development. Okay. If there's no power, yeah, you see even production cannot. And look at government policies, for example. We talk about production now. When you run an economy that is on consuming and no production, less production, you get, because you can imagine how many people a production company employs. Yeah. You understand? Looking at, okay, you want to run a business and look at the interest rate. How do you do that? About 12.5 or 13%. You understand? And now those even the big wigs now with cash, rather than invest in production or invest in agriculture, that will create more employment, that there will be no need for our young people to go abroad. They now prefer to put it in the banks because it's less risk. Because if you put in agriculture, you have more risk. You put in production, you have more risk. Because ordinarily, in production and agriculture, they have percent. Maybe in production, you can get 18%. In production, 25%, agriculture, 18%. But you must look at the risk. But in putting your money in a bank, if you get a 1 billion naira and put in the bank, you get 30%. You can imagine 13% and depends on your negotiation with the bank. Some get up to 25% for a billion naira. Rather than use that money to invest on production that will impact on lives and some of our people. So we must change some certain policies that will give about that drive for economic prosperity and development in our country.
Okay. Now, Mrs. Oduak, just like what Joseph said, that governments seem not to be doing enough. And I think that's indicative on agencies like NAPTIP, because NAPTIP is one of the agencies that is saddled with the responsibility to do this job for government. So it means that NAPTIP may not be doing enough.
Before that, I even want to thank most of our partners, you know. The job is very enormous. I want to thank His Royal Majesty, the Oba of Benin, for him to assist us in calling all these juju priests. There was a time with this sensitization, stop encouraging this type of a thing. Again, the state government, enactment of this anti-human trafficking law and irregular migration is part of curbing the menace. Even the NGOs, the GPIs, they help us there in empowering victims of human trafficking. Yeah. The COSIDOs, the SIP, the GEP, I mean, too numerous to mention. Even the international partners, you know, everybody is working tooth and nail. Every hand is on desk to curb this. But we cannot say that they are not doing it. Like now, tomorrow I'm in the market for sensitization. On Saturday, I'll be in it. You know, so you find out that
I don't want to do commercial.
No. That's what I'm telling you. In a bid to carry out sensitization. So from all the angles we are fighting it. But we will not be deterred because it is still increasing. It's just like where you give birth to a child. Every time you're calling the child Olodo, he doesn't know anything. Some of us did not even start well as a toddler. We found out that with time, there must be improvement. We should not relax. That is my own gift. We should not relax. No matter how high the number is going, we should not deter in doing the right thing at the right time. Okay. I believe that it is going to, these statistics we gave now is going to come down.
All right, thank you so much. Now, I must let you know this, that recent reports, according to U.S. Department of State, Nigeria is a source, transit and destination country for women and children subjected to trafficking in persons, including forced labor and forced prostitution. And these are some facts, you know, I just discovered. And it's also said that trafficked Nigerian women and children are recruited from rural areas, just like what you said, within the country's borders, women and girls for voluntary domestic servitude and sexual exploitation, and boys for forceful labor in streets, vending, domestic servitude, mining, and begging. And also, too, an average Nigerian thinks that human trafficking is only when girls and women are forcefully moved from Nigeria to Europe. Like Italy, they also think that human trafficking is a foreign issue. just like what I said, because that was what I was trying to elicit from you, madam, when I said, so what is the scope of human trafficking? Because most people actually think that, oh, it's only when you take a girl outside. They also don't know that when you kidnap somebody, that's also an aspect of human trafficking. You want to wrap up with that?
Yes, we have what we call child labor.
Okay.
Child labor, where the work a child is going deters his growth physically, spiritually, academically, everything. You subject that little child to exploitation. You see a child, an underage child, working in quarries, working in rice mill, working in cocoa plantation, while others are in school. Her mates or his mates are in school, hawking through during school hours. Bus conductors at the age of 9, 10, a boy is there shouting agege surulere while his mates are in a classroom.
But how are you guys fighting some cultural belief that somehow the child has to be taught how to fend?
It's still awareness, because I keep telling parents that you don't swap responsibilities. At this age, you are supposed to be fending for them. We are not against what we call child work. Yes, you teach your children how to sweep, how to cook, or even how to sell, but it should not be detrimental to their education or growth. That is what we call light work or child work. Yes, you don't do it where the responsibility of the parents, you now swap it to the children. You relax in the morning, go and hug granite. You know it is from here, I will pay your school fees in the morning, school hours. No. It should be done where it will not be exploitative to that child.
To that child.
Yes. So even in the domestic work, you employ an underage child, maybe you picked her from the rural area through an agent to come and be a child who will be taking care of children. You know, the child will sleep by 11:30 p.m., wake up by 4 a.m., she'll do the laundry, she'll do the sweeping, she'll do the school run, a child. If we catch such a person, the person will be prosecuted.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joseph Agbale. You wanted to say something?
Very quickly, like you said just now about rural urban migration. That is the root cause. Okay. Because that's the starting. Okay. That's where it starts. Okay. But the truth is that, like I said, like I already mentioned, the truth is that if amenities are provided in the grassroots, there will be no need for me to migrate from there, because most of them is okay, I want to send my child to go to school in Benin. So now you have to not look for a John or a James who will not say bring your child. Yes. Yeah. You understand? And that's where that forced labor comes in. You understand? Yeah. So all these things is that government must also make deliberate plan to see, because if you look at if you go around our rural communities, how many people do you see in the communities now? It was not like that before. Even like in Igobazua, in those days in Ovia, it was an orb. You see people, but now if you go there, it's like a shadow now. You understand? Because people are moving down to the city. Because healthcare is difficult.
Yeah, but we have more basic amenities. I remember those days in Igobazua.
Those days, like
power. No, we have power more in Igobazua now. I know Igobazua.
Okay, in Igobazua, do you have an ATM in Igobazua? ATM, just an ATM. How do you bring development to an area that does not have ATM?
Yeah, but we have banks.
No bank, one. Mention in the whole of Ovia Southwest, no bank.
Anyway, let's not drag the discussion. Very thank you, Joseph Bali, for coming on this program today. And of course, it will interest you to know one more time that Joseph Bali is Deputy Coordinator, Initiative for Youth Awareness, Immigration, Migration, Development, and Reintegration. Very huge title there. And Mr. Ijoma Odwak, Zonal Commander, NAPTIP Benin Zonal Command. Madam, thank you so much for coming. Well, we'll take a short pause so that other segments will come your way on the same program this morning on ITV. Please stay tuned.